All right, everybody. Welcome to Contractors Corner. I'm Adrian Park. With me today are CEO, founder, system whisperer, Jay Carter.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to make a confession here.
Okay. Confession
Tell
time.
on myself. All right. So, forgive me, Father, I've sinned. No, not that kind of a confession. So I have, if there's a short list of like, I'm going to say like, I'm going to keep it short, like three things that I would say are like my professional kryptonite. The thing we're talking about today is probably makes that list. Because, you know, while I have both in an earlier life in a different industry, I got a lot of referrals, right, from clients. And then certainly in contracting, I mean, running a masonry business, I had tons and tons and tons of referrals from, customers, happy customers, generals, et cetera, et cetera. It's one of those things that uh, I never felt like I mastered. In fact, I didn't master. It was, mostly just doing good work, running a good business, et cetera, et cetera, and people naturally wanted their people in their inner circles to get to have the same experience or whatever. But I didn't, it was, of all the things that I wanted to systematize and, make something that was like lather, rinse, repeat. I was probably one of the bigger failures to date is, up to today, like even now, was, getting like asking for referrals,
Mhm.
getting referrals, and making that something that, like taking all of the goodwill, that I was able to generate and like turning it into something that like where it was like, again, lather, rinse, repeat. So, and I don't think I'm alone on that.
Nope.
I think it's one of those things that more often than not people are not very good at. And I would say my very first mentor in business, he was so good. I mean, he's still, I mean, one of the best business people I've ever had a chance to like spend real time with. Um, and his thing, this is like early 2000s. Actually, for him, it would have been like mid 90s. But he would get, and I never did this, but I probably should have. But his thing, the way he got referrals was, he got the what was it called? Cross directory. And he would have it when he had meetings with his clients because he was in like a, locale, like a city or a small city. And he would literally go down the list of the addresses and ask, he would ask for their neighbors. He would ask for an introduction to their neighbors,
Hmm.
which I thought was very ballsy and also really smart. And he got a ton of referrals.
Yep.
So like what it's, I feel like it's one of those things in, and I think too, I'm going to just, I'm going to kind of finish. I'll kind of put a, you know, try to put a bow on this with this one statement. So I think, one of the things, and you've said this, I've heard you say this, and I've heard other, very brilliant operators say the same thing, that the best time to ask for a referral is like right after people buy. And I
No,
always felt like,
no, it's actually
no,
to ask before they've bought.
before they buy. Okay. Well,
I,
that's even, I'm even more uncomfortable with that. I was going to say
well,
I'm
yeah,
uncomfortable.
and we're gonna get into this. We'll break this down.
So I was going to say, I'll finish what I'm going to say, and then you can
Sure.
show everybody what a horrible position mine is. But like I was always uncomfortable with that
Hmm.
asking after they bought because I was like, well, I haven't done anything yet. I just
Right.
convinced you to do business with me. I didn't actually prove anything other than the fact that I could, persuade you to do business. So like I was uncomfortable with that. I'm even more uncomfortable asking for it before they've even said yes. So for me and for anybody else that is checking out our live stream today or on the replay or on YouTube and all the other places that we're blasting out to, um, So first of all, like from the mental standpoint,
Let's do this.
I think that's something we all need help with. But then also on the, you know, it's good business, right? So what's, if
Yeah.
for people that are where I am, where it's like, or like, and I still asked, but I
Mhm.
wasn't, it's something again I never felt like I was really comfortable with. Um,
Okay.
where
So
do we start?
let's get into, first, always we're going to start with the mindset. Okay. So going into it, I want you to own the fact that you're an expert. If you're doing your job well, and let's say you've met with somebody and you've provided the value to them, that is giving your opinion, inspecting their project, and this goes for commercial, residential, I don't care. Okay.
Right.
You should have enough self-respect for yourself, okay, to first of all realize that I am a brain technician, right? I am a problem solver, okay? And remove yourself from being a sleazy salesperson, because I think that's where a lot of people get hung up, is they feel like they're
Yeah.
they're selling people, and it creates this dynamic. And again, it's the confidence you bring through that door that actually is what's going to determine whether you get the job, don't get the job, and it leads you further to determine, all right, and after doing thousands of sales and doing them well, doing them terrible, I've come to this final conclusion that, first of all, I'm not there to sell them anything. All right, I take that off the table. i
Right.
I don't even know if I can help them. All right, but what I do very well is I know what we can deliver, and if they have a problem I can solve, I'm there to do that first and foremost. Okay, I don't, I'm not there to sell them anything. So with that in mind, if I feel very confident that I've given them a potential solution to their problem that they agree with, all right, I feel that it's also my responsibility to then find out if someone else close to them has the same problem that I can
Yeah, that's a
solve.
good point. Yeah,
Right.
that's a really
So
good point.
if you go in feeling like, and having that resistance to yourself, okay, because really it's not, it's all a mental game.
Right.
Some people might think it's rude, and what will they think of me? What would they think of you? Because here's the facts, here's the reality. Okay. You don't get, you don't get them unless you ask. And it's how you ask.
Right.
Again, how you ask is more for you than it is for them. Okay. Let's put it into perspective.
Okay.
The worst that can happen is they say no, or I don't know anybody. That's the worst. And if you're afraid of a no, okay, then you need to become a real closer. Okay. And I'll explain to you what I mean. A closer, all right, is not a salesperson. A salesperson moves all the way through a sale, gives them customer service, does all the things, does, presents all the, and they stop at no. Okay. They
Okay.
take no as, oh, okay, it's no. A closer starts at no. That's what a real closer is. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and in order to be a true closer, all right, a true champion, like of sales, you have to first of all understand that, what, you're going to get a lot of no's. You're probably going to get more no's than yeses. And that's
Of
not
course.
personal. Okay. That's business.
Right.
That is, and all you can do is continuously try and improve, and you can also take a flat no and turn it into a yes. Good closers know how to do that, how to take an objection, roll
Right.
with it, discover what the actual problem is behind that objection, because it's never what they say it's going to be. It's, again,
Right.
think of yourself. You are helping somebody make a major decision with their home, their business. Like, don't ever underestimate the power that you have in helping somebody really solve a problem that they have. Okay. So with that mindset, all right, it becomes as easy as this. Adrian, you know what? I'm really excited about the opportunity that we have here. And I hope that, I've been able to provide you with some really valuable information today. I've got a real quick question for you though. Is there anyone else that you could maybe point me towards that could
Mm.
possibly benefit from me having a look and seeing if I could help them as well? Would that make sense to us today? Great. Or, when I do a really great job for you, and I will, I just want to make sure that you'd be willing to share your experience with other people, maybe perhaps give us a review online. That would mean a lot to us. Is
Yeah.
that
Right.
is
It's
that
good.
appropriate to ask?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm asking them, like, is that appropriate to ask? I have never had anyone that told me no.
Right.
Okay. So again, for you guys out there making the excuse or having that fear of being told no, well, hey, listen, you're going to get more no's than yeses. If you're doing your job right, you're going to get more no's than yeses. But it's your job to turn those no's into yes. But when it comes to referrals, what I want you guys to understand, and this is the most important lesson that I can teach anybody that's listening in, it's not about getting the yes on the spot. You haven't earned enough trust or not, but there's a reason I ask it even before I've signed the contract, is I'm setting an expectation. It's an agreement. It's an offer that's been made, and I'm going to hold them responsible to that through the agreement. Too many guys wait till the very end after the agreement has been done, and now it's a novelty. It's a maybe, or I can do that. If you don't build this in as an expectation of the client from the very beginning, you will not get them as frequently as somebody who does. Okay. So I want you to really think about that for a sec. If I don't plant the seed and I don't create an obligation, right?
Yeah,
because when they're feeling excited about working with you, you want to get them to commit, just like a contract, to, if you have a great experience, which you will. Okay. So it's partly statement, confidence, right? Would you be willing to share that experience in a review or a Google thing? And, while we're having this discussion, would you perhaps have some friends or some neighbors that you would recommend us to if we do a great job for you? See how now I've built that into agreement. So when someone says that, now as we get into the project, I'm going to bring it up. And as I send out, for example, their onboarding, right? When their tentative start date is in it, we put it in there. We explain it. We give them where we would like them to go to give that review, and we welcome them. So again, we're reinforcing what we want and the agreement that we have. Okay. By the end, again, and I'll give you a very good example of this. We're not perfect. No contractor is. And I think a lot of contractors really get this part wrong too, is that they in a lot of times you can get almost blackmailed by a customer to do extra work and do things for concerned about the bad reviews. Okay. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be, but I rather you understand that if it's a process and a procedure, okay, and the review has been brought up, guess who they're calling? Guess what they're bringing up every time when they have a problem? I don't want to have to put this on the bad review. Well, wouldn't you rather them tell you than go put a bad review on?
Right. Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So by bringing it out into the open and putting it on the table and saying, hey, here's the cards that I'm going to play. All right. The worst, the situation that's going to occur is, first of all, I mean, you should be delivering on your promises. And I mean, I can't help you if you're not. But for us, we're always confident we're going to deliver on our promises. So if for us to put it out on the table early and often, absolutely acceptable. Okay. So now, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and I think too, again, I think to your point, Jay, I think it's a little bit of, I think it's a psychology thing too.
Absolutely.
You're saying about mindset psychology, because, again, I've had to sell my whole career, and I mean, explicitly sell, right? I mean, we're all selling, but, I was actually, that was my job. And I could always take no. I don't want to buy from you. I mean, I get used to that. In fact, I love one of my favorite stories is this little girl in the late 90s that Girl Scout, and she sold just an unbelievable amount of cookies. I mean, she just crushed it, and and it was like this big deal, and like sold like literally tens of thousands of dollars. And this is like 20 plus years ago. And they asked her, they're going around and they're like, so how did you do it? And everyone thought that she just had a fix in the game, like mommy or daddy had a big company or something, like people didn't know. And she's like, well, I just followed the 4 S's. And they're like, what's the 4 S's? And she's like, some will, some won't, so what, someone's waiting. And I love that. And I think there's also like a little bit of a truth in there that like it's not personal, and so I could just, you could tell me no all day long, I don't want to buy from you, but for some weird reason it was like a referral felt more personal to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think there's that, you know what I mean? And I'm just and again, maybe other people feel the same way, maybe not, maybe it's just in my head. But like, what are, so maybe before we talk about the economics or like what it actually, the benefit to the business, it's not just, so to your point, right? Like, it's not just a, you're not just saying like, hey, give me another customer. You're
Mhm.
also asking for a review, and
Right.
like, it's not just, it's not just, so I think that's also something that maybe we need to,
Yep.
because again, as contractors, I don't think we're,
Not
you
tying the two
know,
together.
yeah, we're not going after those, and that's huge.
Oh,
It's huge
it's
for our business,
absolutely
right?
huge. So let me explain to you something that's, again, a very, very valuable lesson for anybody that's listening in to hear. Okay, is that you'll hear me often talk about client journey. Okay, and too often guys do not understand their own client journey. The experience you give to your customer, all right, if it's not meticulously planned by you, and how you say and what you say and why you say that, or what emails go out, like we've been talking lots and lots about all these
Yeah.
things, but
Yep.
the focus needs to be on their experience, right? Again, there's many studies that, like, and for most guys out there, like, have you ever wondered why contractors get absolutely massive? Now, their work is shit, you can point their figures out, but they
Right.
do something for their customers that no one else can do, and that customer feels really safe, and guess what, they're the guys getting all the reviews and all the referrals,
Right.
and it's because they understand a little bit better about client journey. So I want to explain to you this very simple principle. Okay, so we all start off in the same place. We're, actively maybe aware of a problem, right? We seek out a company. Okay. That company then we basically placed a small amount of trust in them, and how they handle that from first hello to last goodbye and beyond that, all right, is entirely in their best interest. Okay. Entirely in their control. All right.
Right.
100%. So I want you to think about, like, if somebody gave me a piece of their trust, all right, and this is in the estimate, in the marketing, and everything, the more you can focus on never breaking that trust, all right, never breaking that responsibility, the more you're going to find out that you can move somebody predictably through your client journey that will be a raving fan by the end. And guess what? Here's what I discovered, and here's a real hack. Okay, it's not complicated. If
Okay.
somebody's willing to give you a 5-star review, okay, they are a advocate for your business.
Yeah.
Okay, they're saying, hey, it is 100 times easier to turn an advocate into a promoter, okay,
That's a good
than
point.
anybody else in the entire cycle. That is the appropriate time to move somebody from advocate to promoter. And let me tell you, again, we'll talk about the real benefits of this. So I've planted early and asked often about the review. We have an agreement. We have a direct human to human agreement that, if I
Mhm.
do a great job, which I will, and we've continued that process. And now it's come to them fulfilling their obligation, not just in the contract, but in the review. So great. They
Right.
had a good experience. I'm going to help them through that. We're going to make sure that we protect ourselves as a business so that not all bad reviews can't be corrected. If you deserve a bad review, you're getting it. All right. But we do our best to make sure that we're leveraging it as a way of, checking the temperature on our clients, making sure we haven't done something that they're not going to tell us about and then share on the public. Like, we want to give them enough
Right.
opportunity to use it as a survey or a platform. They're going to come to us and talk to us about what they're not happy about. Okay. So let's
Yeah.
just say, for example, we move them to a happy customer. All right.
Okay.
And again, another little hack here, guys. There are naturally some people within all areas of culture that are natural salespeople for you. They're promoters through and through. And I want you to think of those really tough clients that lead all of the neighbors. Whatever they do, like, those are actually your opportunity to have micro salespeople. All right, because this is what happens. They've given you that 5-star review. Okay. And now that's the appropriate time to bring up your referral program. And we do it, and I can show you. I just wanted to share my
That's
screen here
good.
for a sec.
Yeah, that's really
Let me
good.
show
Yeah.
you something. Okay. So let's take this. First of all, this is what we call a gated review. So, like, everybody gets this, right? Now they can choose a 3, and I'm gonna collect that information. They're gonna send that information to me. Okay. And this is a very simple form. So I get an opportunity to reach out to them right away, correct anything that's wrong. They might be wanting to share that feedback, but it gives me an opportunity to fix what's wrong. Okay. Now let's say they want to do a 5. Okay, great. This is where we'd like you
Oh,
to
that's
share
slick,
our
man. Look at that.
reviews.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to go into
Hmm.
those reviews. All right. And they're going to be
Wow.
prompted with another opportunity. Okay. And that opportunity, when it goes up here, is our referral program. Okay. So again, now I'm going to make them an offer for a referral, and I'll pull this up here in just a sec. And don't think that, just because you didn't get it on the first try, that you're not going to get it. Right. So too many people give up,
Yeah.
just like the no's. So we like to make this a business transaction more than a personal, they didn't give me a review, so they must not have liked their experience. I think
Right.
guys get that in their head. And again, it's not personal. All right.
Right.
But
Right.
you're going to make them an offer. And our offer is simple. All right. If we sign up one of their neighbors, right, or they send us some contact information for somebody that goes ahead, we're going to send them $500 in a card. Now it's all automated. It's a complete system in our pipeline. And what it does is basically lets them know throughout the experience, hey, this person is at this stage, just gentle reminders. Now it's all automated. It's all, processed out. Okay. It's very easy to ask for it. Now, the reason I'm going to do that is because it only takes one time for them to receive that. So let's say, for example, they shared their review, the 5-star review of their experience, to their social media. It creates a link. All right. Anybody that clicks on that and then requests a quote becomes their referral. All right.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm
Smart.
taking advantage. The reason why is because, it's an absolute fact. We all have 300 Facebook friends, right?
Right.
Okay. So by them sharing their experience there may be complete strangers they haven't talked to in years that happens to need that service. And now they're going to click on that, and the person who had, shared it is going to get rewarded. Very easy to ask for. So in the digital age, they don't have to feel like they have to give you a name or like direct you to the neighbors, because sometimes people are a
Yeah.
little wonky about that.
Yeah. Right.
Other times people are happy to give you referrals and reviews. Okay. All we ask is, hey, if you gave us that great review, we're just going to share it into your social media, create a link for you to generate a savings on your thing. That works extremely well because it's like free advertising. It's them promoting and saying, hey, you know what? These guys aren't bad. You could use them. And then if they want to send somebody to that review or that link, they're getting rewarded for every time someone does a review or goes forward with a job. And these can go on. Guys, I have one in my pipeline right now that's made 26 referrals to us. 26 closed deals every time.
What?
Yeah, every time. And I've got more than that. Like our average for people who have referred us one time, okay,
Yeah.
is 2.66. So one time. So that's all it takes. Okay.
Wow.
Because here's what happens. The first time they get that $500 and it was really fast and convenient and they didn't have to really do much, right? We bring it up to them like, you just made $500 for 3 minutes of your time. We appreciate that. And we stay up. We keep sending them other mailers and reminding them of offers. And again, this email list, guys, like we talked about this last week, how powerful it is. What do you think of going
Yeah.
back and offering? What do you
Wow.
offer if you don't have a product, or you offer the referral bonus? Okay. They've already advocated for you. They've already said these
Right.
guys are great. Why would it be inappropriate to have an offer for them where they could make, you're going to pay it in marketing cost anyways. And listen,
Right.
my cost per acquired customer is like $1,366. By me saying, hey, you know what? I acquired a customer from this person, this marketing source. Why would I even fret about the number? $500 is like, it's fractional to my actual
Right. It's
cost
like
per acquired.
yeah,
Right.
about 30%. Yeah.
Here's another very interesting fact about this. Okay.
Okay.
If you want to go into and farm a neighborhood, all right. And this is what I mean about asking early. So you're giving an estimate. All right. People are on the fence about price. Okay. They're concerned, well, I got a quote from this guy and that guy, and you're about $1,000, $2,000 more. Okay, Mrs. So-and-so, I have an offer for you. Maybe you'd be interested. What if, I gave you $500 for every one of the neighbors that would happen to go with us, and we did this as a group thing? Would that help to bring down the price? All of a sudden, you've got a coordinator that's actively going out They want to work with you,
Smart.
and they're
Yeah.
calling on all the neighbors. All right. And I've had this explode too. We've done entire townhouse blocks just up and down, and one person just literally, to get their original thing down. And guys, like,
Yeah.
use the beauty
That's
part of
smart.
this is we're
That's really
using
smart.
yes, we're
That's
using
really fucking smart.
technology, right? So again, it actually becomes leverage rather than just giving them a huge discount or matching the price. Get them to do a little work for it, right? Don't come down on your numbers, because if they know, like, and trust you, and you're the authority, they want to work with you. If it's a matter of a couple $1,000, get them. Hey, you know what? You spend 20 minutes 30 minutes talking to your neighbors, or give me the phone numbers. Now we can make a deal on that, and we'll get this whole offer through in one. And how many times has it worked out? Like, guys, it's easy to ask for that. And at the end of the day, the mindset this came from is, I'm a problem solver. They have a problem. They don't
Yeah.
want to pay that much. Great. Here's the solution to that problem.
Right.
It's totally congruent. It works
That's good.
perfectly. Right.
Yeah, that's good because that's, I mean, the first thing, I mean, not to go off on a bunny trail, but, you know, one of the first and most painful lessons I learned was, if my price is going down, so is so is the
That's your
scope of work.
profits. Right.
I mean, I'm doing less if I'm getting paid less, but that's anyway. So that's it's pretty fucking smart, Jay.
Right.
So what do you think then? So so first of all, so the cost to you is less than what it costs you just in the normal
33%.
course of
Yeah,
your
it's
business. Yeah.
right. It's 66% less to acquire a customer that way than it would be traditional. And it's also, again, I'm not even including the convenience fee. Like, if you're going in and doing 5 houses instead of one
Yeah.
house,
Right.
like, let's be honest, how much more, like, and again, it gives you this viral marketing, like person to person marketing, where again, people people want to do that. A certain percentage of people want to give you the review, and they will, once you make them aware that, hey, you could leverage a referral, you could save yourself some money by referring us. There's a certain percentage of people who are like, that's a great idea, I love that. And especially
Yeah.
if they were a sales type person, and we all know those people. Guess what? Those are the guys that are actually calling for the quotes. Do you not think they're talking to their neighbors? Of course
Right.
they are, guys.
Right.
And again, with that, you've just given them a little bit more of an incentive to work with you. And there's nothing sleazy about it. There's nothing, non-ethical. What's non-ethical, though, and I want to put this in perspective for you guys out there that are like, I can't do that and blah, blah, blah. How about this? Drop your price. Drop your price. Say, oh, you know what? I'll match that price. What's that tell your customer? Oh, well, he must have been overcharging me $1,000.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
tell me, like, again, how many of you guys have said, I'll match the price? And they're like, great. You get in your truck and they never call you again. It's because
Right.
they were testing you to see, and a lot of people think like that. Like, if he had $1,000
Yeah.
to spare, how much more does he have on the table? And now it creates a mistrust. It creates an objection.
Yeah.
Right. And guys don't get this. It creates the resistance that you're trying to avoid. Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
again, make
No, you're
them
absolutely, that's a good point,
right.
because I mean, the minute and that's another one I learned the hard way. I'm sure you did too.
Mhm.
Like, we had a really good customer, and I remember, um, they pushed back on one of my unit costs on something. And so I kind of like took this one scope of work and broke it up with different kinds of, it didn't matter, and the guy I was working for, or the guy he was working for, it was like instantly he was like, yep, I told you they were charging too much, and I was
Yep.
like, God damn it,
Right.
and and so, and even though, like, I did the best I could to minimize that, because I was like, well, it, there was no way to get around that, right?
Right.
So yeah, so I mean, I think so. Okay, so going back to the referral thing, so what, I mean, then your team, then, so you're saying it's automated. So
It's all automated.
there's, I mean, I mean, in real terms,
Mhm.
how many hours a month do any of your employees spend on?
Zero.
It's all
Zero.
automated,
It's fully.
100%.
And
Wow.
again, it's not just one email. Like, we're not just asking once and that's it. No, like, this is our part of our follow-up to any client we've done business with,
Yeah,
or
it's
anyone that
nurture.
has referred us. Because guess what? Here's a fact that's going to blow your mind. Okay.
Okay.
Here's something, and you ready for this? Okay.
I think so.
25% of the people who have given us referrals have never
Okay.
done business with us.
Holy crap.
Okay.
What?
I just said that, so don't miss
What?
that for a second. Okay. Why is that? Because we made the offer to them
Wow.
before we got the okay on their deal. So let's put this in perspective for a second. Hey,
Wow.
you know what? I love Jay Carter, like their presentation. We came out and did all that work. Okay. We made them feel
Yeah.
important, but our price is double the guy that his brother's going to do it. Great.
Yeah.
Guess what? They still refer us to the neighbors and to the friends, even though they
Right.
had their job done by someone else, because we made it easy and convenient for them to do so.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
again, and here's the other side that we find works out most of the time, is that they're not sure about, if they can afford that price, or maybe it's the wrong time, but they've already recommended to see if they could get the price down. Because do they know that the neighbor is going to go? No, all they can do is
Right.
ask. We made it fast and convenient for them to just grab those contacts, and guess what? We sold the neighbors. We are still friends. We're still on good terms. And
Yeah.
if they got somebody else to do the job, we don't
Really
shame them about
smart.
it. But
Yeah.
again, they tell us, listen, I am so sorry. Like, I only had this budget. Hey, I understand. No problem.
Yeah.
You've already repaid it, right?
Well, I think too, one of the now like famous persuasion books is Robert Cialdini, right? And he sort of made famous this principle of like reciprocity, and that's kind of I think what you have at work there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning like, when we, whenever somebody does something for us,
Mm-hmm.
our innately, like, it doesn't matter whether you're man or woman, American, Canadian, Mexican, like, we want to reciprocate, we want to
Great.
return the favor. And so there's actually a little bit of there's a little bit of like kind of like
It,
ninja voodoo genius there, because you ask before they've even signed a contract, and then when they say no because you brought value, their inclination,
right.
unless they don't like you or they thought you were, whatever, didn't have a good experience, which, there's going to be that for various reasons. They want to reciprocate, right? They want
Right.
to return the favor because, like, wow, this guy was, his team was so professional. It was
Mm-hmm.
fast. They, like, wow,
Experience.
these
Why
guys are
wouldn't
really
they want
great. I just can't afford this. Or,
to? Mm-hmm.
my husband's, like you said, brother's going to do the job for whatever cost or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of,
So
there's a genius in that.
so again, when we talk about why we wouldn't ask for these things, and a lot of guys out there, I understand, like, it's not easy to ask for something from somebody
Right.
at certain stages, and you feel like it would be inappropriate at a place. I want you to ask yourself, if you were confident in the fact that you had done your very best to solve their problem, not sell them, because
Right.
here's where the whole principle came from. I'm not there to sell them anything. I'm
Yeah.
not. If I do my job properly, I'm there to look at a problem, have them, acknowledge that they have this problem, and we're working
Yeah.
together to solve that problem. If my solution at the end does not fit what they had expected, okay, cool. There's no harm or foul in that. I'm going to help them through making that decision. Then they want to make that decision. Nobody looks
Yeah.
forward to a home renovation or contract. No one looks forward to these things. It's a drag,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
And even when you're doing renovations, but that moment where somebody makes a decision with you, all right, is about the highest that you're going to get in terms of connecting, all right.
Yeah.
And again, while
Yeah.
you're connecting and while you have their attention, that's the time to kind of bring it in. And like I said before, it comes from an abundance mindset. There are, and guys, if we want to look at it, if you're struggling with leads, okay, and I hear this all the time, well, I'm only word of mouth. Great, you already know the system works, so I don't have to sell you anything.
Yeah.
But what if we just did one little tweak to that, and we allowed them, and I'll just show you really quickly, right? So you change these things. Number one is that you reached out to us, and we can install this system for you. So like, it's you don't even need to think about it. That obviously we created all this. We can just put it in your business as a standalone. But this is your offer, right? It's simple. They just share it on Facebook. That's all you're going to
Yeah.
ask. Hey, you know what? If you didn't have a contact I could have, no problem. Share this on Facebook. All right. And if somebody, picks that up, I'm going to reward you. Is that feel like you're being sleazy or underhanded?
No, not at
Absolutely
all.
not.
Yeah.
It's a systemized, it's professional. If anything, it gives you more credibility than
Yeah.
less. All right.
Right.
Because again, if you were confident that you were solving problems and taking care of your customers, your prospect, whether they're your customer or not, all right, you should have absolutely no fear or objection to doing this. Now, I want to bring up another opportunity for guys that are out there doing B2B work. Okay. So
Okay.
business to business. I hear this all the time. Well, I wouldn't ask my customer, or I've never asked for a referral. Okay. So let me maybe put this in perspective. How many of your, main clients, your customers in a B2B setting doesn't know 10 other businesses, doesn't have interactions with other businesses? Just think about it
Yeah.
for a second. So
No.
it's baffling. So, and then think about the people that are gatekeepers and that, work at the offices and that are, related to these businesses, suppliers. Like, if you gave them a fast and convenient way to recommend you, and they trust you because you've earned that, and you just gave them a very easy way to send their friends, to send their family members, to send, whatever opportunities they think are, would that not start to, and what's the harm of asking? Like, you don't get anything unless you ask. But
Right.
like think about it. Now we've created a rule to the game. The agreement has gone beyond just, hey, like asking somebody, hey, would you refer me? Yeah, sure, I'll refer you. Great. Conversation goes on and they never do. Why do you think that is?
Right.
We didn't
Right.
give them a place to do it. We didn't set the rules to the game. We didn't explain what the offer was. And it's
Right.
just like me going out and giving you a vague estimate. Just, it's going to be $5,500. Here you go. Wrote it down on the back of a business card. That's about the equivalent of asking for a referral that way.
Yeah. You
Put
make a
it,
good point.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Now put it that into something like this, right? And it's simple. All right. But hey, you know what? Here's this QR code. If you know of anybody that could possibly benefit from our services, right? Here's the QR code. You just scan it, and anytime you want, you just drop those contacts in. Or, hey, you know what? Like, could you share this on your company? I'll do an exchange. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's smart.
recommend your business on
Yeah.
my social media. You
Yeah.
recommend my business on your social media, and we'll trade,
Yeah.
right? Do you see where I'm going with this? So, like, again, that is like somebody voting for you, and you
Yeah.
vote for them, and you're showing a partnership, and whatever comes from that, everyone's being rewarded. So, like, these systems are meant to go viral. They're meant to be, to go out to everybody. If you're using it like an offer.
I think, Jay, I think again, one of the genius things about this is that, you know, like to your point, right? So we, we get over ourselves and over our fear and we ask for the referral and then they say yes.
And
And
then nothing.
you don't get
Yeah.
anything, whether it's a review or whatever. And it's not that they didn't want to, but
No, it wasn't a
it's
priority for them
well, and
because
I
you
was going to
didn't make
say,
it you didn't make it a negotiated deal from
yeah,
the beginning that you carried out through. Because again, if I did everything I said I would do,
right,
like, again, obviously you're paying your bill, but like, there's this secondary contract that we both have. And
yeah,
I know for a fact that it's very effective. And for anyone that gets a lot of reviews and referrals, they know what I'm talking about too, right? The
yeah,
only twist to this is, again, is the follow up and the follow through after you've left their home or after you're no longer in
yeah,
front of that customer. It's the years of following up and repeatedly going back to people. Because guess what? Again, is it easier to work with somebody you've already worked with? Is it easier to get that warm
yeah.
lead? Like, think
Well,
about
it
it. Like,
is
you're
easier, and
easier sales, right?
what I was gonna say is that part of there was this there's this book that I read like 10 years ago called Predictably Irrational, and um, one of the stories that the author tells is that he did a experiment on a big college campus in the Northeast. Maybe it was MIT because he was a professor there. And they had, it was like there was like a big student event going on, and they put out a table and they had two bowls of chocolates. They had those Lindor, like the really fancy chocolates, and those were 15 cents.
Mhm.
And then they had Hershey's Kisses, a what most people would agree far, inferior chocolate to those very fancy and very delicious chocolates from Lind to Lindor. And so one was 15 cents, the nice chocolate, and the other one, the Hershey's, were a penny. And at that price point, people, students would buy, it was about like, 80-20. So about 20% of the people would go for the good chocolate. And then, I'm sorry, the other way around. So 15 cents for the premium chocolate was inexpensive because I think they sell for like $1. So 80% of the people were buying that because it was like a crazy good deal, right? They then lowered them both by 1 penny. So now the Hershey's chocolate was free and the Lindor was 15 cents. So, traditional, like, logical thinking would go, well, if the chocolate that usually sells for $1 is, was 15 cents and now it's a penny cheaper, well, that's an even better deal, right? And so you would have assumed that people would, buy even more of the premium chocolate because it's an even better deal at 14 cents. But what happened was it flipped. 80% of the people now took the free Hershey's chocolate,
Yeah.
right? And so why did they do that? And this is what the author points out: because free works because it's an easier decision, right? I don't have to decide to spend something. If I don't think it's going to hurt me, kill me, or cause me harm, then it's the free chocolate, even if it's not as good, is an easier decision, right? And so I think that, again, the the genius in what you're doing, with J Carter roofing is you just make it an easier decision, right? You just have to click, right?
Well,
Just
again,
click,
and
and it's a couple of clicks versus like you have to, like, this whole process, like you're
right.
taking all of the work out of it for the,
Well, it's
for
speed
your
and
customers or
convenience.
referrers.
Right. So again, there is like, for guys out there, I want to make sure I bring up this point that's really important with this. This won't work for a lot of people. They won't even bat their eyes at this. Okay. And I'll explain to you who it does work for and who, you'd be better off using a traditional method with. Okay. So and it's not for everyone, but we're gonna identify two major groups, right? One is the baby boomers, Gen Xers. Like, that's the majority of our group still. They're the ones with the cash and the money. It's still a very much human to human experience that gets us those referrals, and they text it to us or they email it to us. Like, they don't follow the system that we put in, but we make the offer clear to them. Okay. They're still doing the reviews. But the more targeted one this is for, and where it's really been, a game changer overall, is the new buying group. Okay. And these are the millennials down. You guys, like, it's totally different value systems, and we've talked about this with hiring, and I'm gonna apply it to sales, and what you have to understand. Okay. So a baby boomer, all right, got brought up in a time where it was if you work hard, you get somewhere. Okay. And all the way down to Gen Xers and all that stuff. Okay. So that is a principle that it goes into every decisions that they make. They want you to make the effort first, and then they'll give you an opportunity. If you've done that, they will give you those referrals and stuff, but they're less and less technology like driven. They appreciate having conversations. They appreciate you being there, being present, like all of those things. Now, we have the opposite with millennials, and it's almost like it was flipped completely upside down with a millennial and a millennial buyer habit. All right. What I'm seeing more and more of is, hey, you know what? I'm going to I'm going to show you an opportunity first. Right. So why this works, because here's an opportunity before you buy from me. Here's an opportunity to save some money. Right. Now they see the opportunity first, then they make the commitment. So again, it's taking the value system that they have already in place, all right, and making it speed and convenience. So a millennial values speed and convenience. The faster and easier you can do it, and the faster you can move along, and their technology, like their technology is in every aspect of their life. All right. So if you're not showing up there and you just ask them to, oh yeah, just email me a referral, it'll never happen. Not in a million years. I haven't gotten one, not one, that
Wow.
method from that
Wow.
group. Okay.
Okay.
On the
Okay.
other side though, we start getting 40, 45 up. They're all texts, phone calls. I've had them
Yeah.
drop it off written on the back of paper. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then they tell their friends, they get their friends to call me. Like they do.
Right.
If you've done that, they will go out of their way. And this is the best
Yeah.
group to ask for reviews from. They will go out of their way to find you other customers just naturally because you've fulfilled your obligation. And
Right.
in those groups, again, if you're dealing with, again, a baby boomer, like a true baby boomer, you're going to find out that their relationships and the systems and the people they have around them, if they've had a good experience, they're telling everyone. All right. It's a part of the
Yeah.
conversation piece. They have more time too to actually do
Right.
that. Where you have a very busy millennial, okay, that doesn't have that time. You have to fit into their schedule at their convenience, right?
Right.
Just like booking calls and appointments with them. We book less and less appointments, like face-to-face appointments with a millennial than we do with anyone. They want the quote first. Let me see what it's going to be, and then we'll discuss it. Okay, great.
Right.
I can help you out there, right? But then when you put this kind of offer in front of them, they're all over it. Like, yeah, I'll share it on my Facebook. You did a great job. Boom, done. Just like that. Just one click, done. Right? And guess what? Who do you think's on their Facebook? More people like that. Like, so
Right.
again, you get this viral, content that's being spread out there. And ultimately, again, guys, if you're completely blind and oblivious to what's going on in the world, social media is starting to take over as the main form of, media, like how we will
Right.
advertise, how we market. Like, again, even pulling from Google and everywhere else. And Adrian, me and you are we're big believers in this. Very soon,
Yeah.
like showing up on social media and being real and being about your brand and using tools like this, you can have a very simple business. You don't need a lot of technology. Like I said, we built this out and you've just got the link. You can very much survive by having a decent content game where you're sharing some videos, some value, and asking people to give you a review or a referral if
Yeah.
they appreciated the content you shared. Okay.
Yeah.
Think about it. Maybe they
Yeah.
don't even own. I've had this happen before. Hey, I live in a condo, but I love your content. Great. Here's a link. If you ever wanted to review a friend, we offer this incentive. Awesome. I have
Yeah.
3 friends that I want to refer to you right now. Here's the link. Boom, done. Think about how easy it is to ask, right?
Right.
But I'm set up to do that. So I've gotten 3 referrals from somebody that's seen our content on social media, loves metal roofs, but lives in a condo. Okay. But do they know 3 people that live in homes? Hell yeah, they
Yeah.
do. And of those
Yeah.
3 referrals, we landed one, decent sized job out of it. And I always
Yeah.
use that story as an example of, like, unless you ask, or unless you're ready and prepared to ask somebody in like a conversational manner, and you've got those things and agreements out front, you're never going to get them. But referrals and review, like word of mouth, is still very much alive.
Yeah.
It's just done a different way. And that's what I
Right.
think people are running into, because could you survive on traditional word of mouth nowadays? That would be very tough. I know some guys are out there doing it, but you cannot scale your
Yeah.
business. You're like, it will, and you can't control the quality of customer you're going to get through the door either,
Right.
right? Which
Exactly.
is a big threat to it. Now,
Yeah.
with something like this, it goes a little bit beyond that. And again, could you live like purely off a referral still? I still think you can. I think you could scale a business, but you would have to add other forms of traffic that would drive people that were not customers of yours to give you those referrals. So again, it's happening all over the place. I want to give you another good example of how to leverage something like this.
Yeah.
Let's say that you're a member of a Facebook group, a community Facebook group. Okay.
Okay. That's no. Yeah. A lot of people
And
do that.
you've shared content on your page, and maybe you shared the link so somebody could grab it. All right. This is a ripoff of the affiliate marketing world, right? And they
Okay.
know they could make $500 asking for or giving somebody your link. All right. That's their custom link. Do you not think that they're going to recommend you? Or let's say, for example, you've built authority in that community. You've added value. You've gone in and taught them of how to select a plumbing contractor. You've again, they've accepted you into their world. Great. Is that an appropriate time to say, hey, for everyone else that has appreciated the content, that how you could help me out and I'll make it worth your interest? I've got this referral offer. If you refer your friends, your family that aren't on our page to, and I do work with them, I want to reward you for that because I appreciate it. It's cheaper
Yeah.
than me marketing,
Right.
right? Me paying, the algorithm for marketing. It's organic marketing. It's the same thing, except for you're not paying the algorithm to spread the word about you. You're using real people to do it within a community. And again, it can be that easy. We take the value that you could, train or teach, like go in with the mindset of these people have a problem and I want to help them solve it. Okay. So if you're a plumber, electrician, doesn't matter. Okay. You all have something you can teach somebody or help them, give them a checklist, like be a part of the community. Don't just show up there and start spamming. That's not
Right.
appropriate. But
Right.
you're going to go in and be a real member of the community like you would in the real world, not the digital world, right? We're going to actually try and help people with their problems. And then at that moment, you've got a beautiful window of time and opportunity where it's almost weird if you don't, right? Like people know
Right.
your business, but like if you're not like saying, hey, you know what, I've helped a lot of people here solve their problems or look at the problem properly or figure out they actually have a problem, take them from completely unaware to now aware of this problem that exists, right? Why would I not want to, have other business? Why would I not want to help their friends? And like that's the reason that like I'm not hiding the fact that that's what the reason I'm here. And I think it would be
Right.
weird if you did, right? But this gives you a very easy way to do it without being salesy or pitchy, like coming in and begging and like using your thing. No, if you want to help me out, it just can be a CTA. If you want to, if you have a friend or a family member that's looking to have this kind of service done, or your mom, your dad, those baby boomers that don't get on the internet, great. Here's how you can refer me, and I'm going to reward you for that. Is there anything wrong with that offer?
Of course not.
Is it unethical?
No, no, not
No.
at all.
Would it be weird if you didn't? Like, you know
I
what I
think
mean?
so.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
gonna come on and just, talk about, are you even a plumber? Like, do you even own a business? Like, why are you here? I
Right.
would
If
start
you
to
don't,
question after a certain point, like, what
that's
exactly
a
are
good
you
point.
doing? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Right.
so think about it that
Great
way. Like
point.
now, but the difference is you are allowing that to go viral and be spread millions of times, hundreds of thousands of times, thousand times. Like every time that
Right.
link gets shared, people get the deal, the offer, and we make it simple. Like, hey, I get a job, it's $25 or $100 or whatever you want to do, right? So, anyways,
So, like, let's how do we, because, again, I'm thinking to myself, like, I mean, and I'm probably more technologically inclined, but I mean, I wouldn't know how to set that up.
yeah,
So, if I want to set that up and it's like I'm watching this right now and I'm like, oh, dude, that's great. Let's do that.
yeah. So
I mean, how do we do, how do we do
yeah,
that?
so here's the easiest way. All right. So I've made it, and again, I make this offer to everyone that's listening in, as long as it's within a reasonable window of time. If it's 4 years from now, you might be a different price. But our 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 company will build this out for you for $997. Okay, one-time fee. It's set up, it's running for you. Okay. And then you can just start using it immediately. Don't try and build it yourself. Just don't. Like, even if you are like, we have other developers and website people that just come and get us to do it. Why? Because the
Yeah.
time it would take them to figure out how to set it all up and run it and find the
Yeah.
platforms, it's not worth it. So if your company's suffering with a referral or review problem and you want to improve, this is the easiest, quickest win I can get in your hands right now. So maybe down the road we can do more business, but I will
Right.
put this into your business and install it for you so that it operates, again, just like a normal feature. We'll train you on how to do it and help you with your mailers, and then don't worry about it. Let it just organically grow on its own.
And you're talking about like what you showed us that's on your
Yep.
Jay Carter roofing
Yeah,
page
and
where
we
you can
even
click
got
the
we've
like star thing and
right.
the wow,
Right.
it's pretty
And that's a
slick.
very, very basic form. I showed that one just so no one got overwhelmed. But for other ones that
Sure.
are techie out there and like really want a robust review and referral system, we have some other things up our sleeve. Like you're looking at, that was level one. For guys that want to get serious about this kind of marketing, more than happy if you come to school, I'll show you some next level tactics and tools that we use to capture, video testimonials and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't want to interrupt you when you were showing it, but because I hadn't seen that before.
Mhm.
Even though like I was all over your page last year when I was redoing the website, but
Right.
the part that I like is that you click the star and it brings up
Mhm.
like which that's kind of hot. Like
Speed and convenience,
that's
right?
badass. And
Yep.
again, going back to like we the harder the decision is, the more likely we're not to
Right.
make it.
Right.
And so I think that's, it's like little things like that, you know, I mean, I think I'm just going to take a stab in the dark here, but I would imagine, like if you just, for someone who's never done it before, and if you had, let's say, I'm trying to think like, so we probably had, let me think about this. Oh, golly. So let's say we had, I don't know, we did like 100 contracts a year. That's probably a little bit high, but let's just use that number. Um, So if you did 100 contracts a year and that email went out to every single one of your customers, I mean, if we did 100 contracts, we probably bid 600 to 700. I mean, you're starting to get some pretty big numbers there, Jay. And in terms
Mhm.
of like, and you're saying 25% of your referrals never even sign a contract.
Yeah.
I mean, that one thing could probably, I don't know, it could probably boost your business about 10%, right? I
Oh,
mean,
again, it's all about how
it's
serious you
such a
want to be
such
about
a
it.
no. It feels like a
Right.
no
It's
brainer to me.
absolute no
I
brainer.
didn't even thought. I didn't just now is the first time I thought about the economics. Like
It's
Jesus, like you could like just
if
having
I
that on
had
your
to
web.
put, yeah, if I had to put an
Geez,
ROI to our review and referral process and how many jobs
yeah,
I've acquired just simply from that, okay,
right,
we would be talking in the hundreds of thousands of our like return on investment.
yeah.
Hundreds of
You
thousands,
mean
because
percent,
I've
not
done
dollars. Yeah,
millions of dollars worth of business
yeah.
that essentially cost me next to nothing to do.
Wow,
So like when we measure ROI, return on your investment,
wow.
like, return on your ad spend, when you start to calculate that and like how
Yeah,
much it costs nowadays to acquire one customer, and then we put this into perspective for 9.97, you've got like something that's set up running. Even if
yeah,
you don't push it, even if you don't promote it, let's say you just put it in your invoices as
yeah.
a non-intent CTA, you're going
Right.
to get one or two or three a year. Like, and
Yeah,
again, think about this. I know this for a fact, and it's very painful, but one bad review on your Google profile not only drives you down in the searches, but it could, if you don't get it covered and respond appropriately, it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost
yeah. It's a real
opportunities.
cost to that. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So what are you
yeah.
doing to protect yourself there? What are you keeping the job between you and your customer? Like, again, nothing will make up and nothing will, this is not meant to hide the fact you're a shitty contractor. If you're a shitty contractor,
Right,
like, it's not going to help you. Okay. You can't,
right,
you can't, mislead people. But if you're a decent contractor that truly cares, that made a mistake, you should get an opportunity to stop that review and deal with the customer face to face, because a lot of customers won't tell you that, if one person says it, 10 others felt it but didn't say anything,
right.
right? So you're
Yeah, I
giving
was
them a
gonna.
voice, you're giving them an
Yes.
opportunity to share how they feel about the service.
So I'm going to ask too, because I'm not, for anyone watching it, I genuinely don't know the answer to this question. So if we, so let's say someone's like, oh, $1,000, that's a no brainer.
Yeah.
Um, again, I'm going back to like, I'm running a mason restoration business
Mhm.
again, hat on, my concern would be, well, what happens when it breaks, or
Yeah,
what happens?
great question, great question. So again, I would like, it's a programmed like a website. So how often does your website break?
Not,
Never.
not
Right.
very, no.
So
Right.
the technical, but let's just say, for example, let's say, heaven forbid, all right, worst case scenario, we have a nuclear attack in 3 months and knocks out my computer, our servers, and we can't,
Yeah.
we it goes down in that 3 months. And if you acquired one job, it's paid for.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right. So there
Yeah.
is
Right.
no, again, like, I know it, like, if you're sitting there wondering if this is like, I'm not giving you this deal because I couldn't charge other people tens of thousands of dollars to do
Right.
it, which I have,
Right.
and I
Right.
continue to. I'm giving this offer because I know it's going to open a dialogue between me
Yeah.
and you about, what other things that we can fix, and what other ways we can get return on your investment for working with us. So
Yeah.
again, I'm going to be clear about my intent. It's, we're not making money on those kind of things, but it's going to give you enough value, just like you should be giving that kind of value to your customers,
Right.
that I
Yeah.
know it builds trust. And you said it earlier, can you say that word? I can't pronounce it.
Reciprocity.
There you go. Yes.
I
Yeah.
just want to say, I just want to point out, by the way, that the contractor AI neon sign is
Oh, yeah.
kind of badass.
Right.
Like we didn't get a chance to talk about that before we went live today.
Yeah.
Like that thing is very, 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 very cool.
Yeah. I
Like that
appreciate
thing
that.
looks good.
I'm going to
Yeah.
keep doing some things. I've got some other ideas for like how to make it interesting in the background. So
Okay.
yeah.
More to come.
Yes, sir.
Um, okay, so we final thoughts. So if I think the way I see this, Jay, is because again, I'm going just kind of like put maybe like a kind of wrap this up. So I feel like part of because and I don't again I want to go down a bunny trail. One of the first things I remember about like when we first started talking a couple years ago is that you had like multiple offers, like insane offers to buy your business, like
Yep.
stupid. Like if
Still.
anybody knew
Yeah.
how much people were offering you, they would wonder why you didn't take it
Right.
because it was just stupid money. But the reason why you've had these like ridiculous, like huge 8-figure offers to buy your roofing business is these things, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's the fact that, and the reason why it doesn't cost you as much to get a customer in the door is because this is happening. Like you have this basically like this machine that's always running, and like every week or every couple of weeks you get a couple of these leads come in, and then you have a very efficient system for estimating them, and now it's a job, and now it gets done, and then it gets reviewed, and then round it like lather rinse repeat, lather rinse repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like this is one of those like little big things that it seems like that's like it's not sexy. It's you and I think we're reluctant, just like I was sharing my own fears and insecurities about this, like we're reluctant to do it because we don't want people to say no, because it is like it's like, I don't know, it feels very personal when you ask for a referral and people say no to me.
Right.
But
But
when we do, but like it's one of those things that if we actually do it, not only is it great for business and great, it's like more sales and all of those benefits, but it feels like it's like it's not hard,
right.
like and
So
it's a time saver,
yeah. So again, I'll add a caveat to what you're saying. So
Okay.
when you have a business assessment, so for contractors that are out there, when you get an evaluation, and luckily, I mean, I was exposed to this earlier on. About 5 years ago, I had an offer made on my business, actually from a competitor that's continued to make offers over the years. But when the evaluator came in, I had an opportunity to kind of chat with them about like what they actually look, because I didn't even think you could sell. I'm like, what are you buying, my trucks or my
Right.
tools? Like, and most
Right.
companies, unfortunately, are in that position where because they don't have systems and processes. And here's what the evaluation is going to look for. Number one, they're going to look for reoccurring revenues. Okay.
Right.
So part of the reason I designed this is because when someone refers you on a regular annual rate, right? So they are
It's
referring you. It's
yeah.
considered reoccurring revenue. So they will
Huh.
look at your
Yeah.
ability to
Smart.
generate revenue without spending money on the
Right.
cost per acquired customer. So again, that number keeps coming up when our discussions, but more than profit, they want to know, can this company survive? And like, what will it cost? Like if we remove the owners, right, which is another big element,
Right.
can this owner be removed from the business? If it's
Right.
the answer is no, no one's buying your business. Okay.
Right.
The second thing they're going to look at is what is the outbound capabilities of this system or of this company. Outbound, all right, is your ability to generate leads without spending money. Okay.
Right.
So these are things like, are you, do you have a sales team that's capable of generating their own leads? Okay. That's very valuable in the business world because if you can
Yeah.
generate your own leads, while keeping it in a controlled cost, well, that allows scalability.
Right.
Where they don't want to find out is that, hey, you know what? My whole business has been built on word of mouth that you can't track, that you're
Right.
not tracking. Okay. And I don't really have a marketing plan or position in place. Okay. They will not buy business like that. And that goes for if you're commercial, it doesn't matter. You could show up and have $5 million in contracts. They will look at the EBITDA and other readings in your business, and they'll probably evaluate you very low. They'll require
Right.
you to stay in the business for a long period of time. I have gotten offers where I can walk away today. All right. They're going to pay me, 10x my earnings, which is
Yeah.
very, very good. And the areas that I've been focusing on, again, is generating reoccurring revenue, right? So customer journey, customer service, referrals, like, doing business with the same people over and over again, all right, generates you a higher evaluation, right? So if you want to build your business on equity, like you would build your home. And again, I don't understand why guys don't out there, and maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. I do understand why guys don't understand it, but it's well worth it. If you are building a business, one day you're going to want to retire or walk away from it, right? We
Yeah.
all agree. Nobody wants to be like, no one woke up with the dream of riding this bitch to death, right? Like,
Right.
but you are, by not implementing these systems, by not having tracking, by not being able to show your scorecard, you are trapping yourself internally to that business. And
Right.
the saddest thing that could ever happen to you, all right, is you work the next 40 years in your business, all right, do a great job, even if you bring it to 2, 3, 4, 5 million. I mean, actually, even higher than that. There's business out there aren't worth a dime that are doing 10, $20 million in revenue,
Right. Right.
because they don't have those systems in place. They don't have the reoccurring revenue. They remove the owner and the top sales reps, and all of a sudden the liability and the risk of that business is way too high for any like investor or venture capital to even take a look at it. They want safe investments. They want
Yeah.
things that are going to return value over time, that they have a window where they can move in a new operation without the whole business collapsing,
Yeah. I
right?
mean,
So
to your point, Jay, I mean, again, I, I it's like a whole, we could do a whole live stream
yeah.
on that. But I mean, it is, again, for folks out there that that are like my age, I'm 47, or in their early to mid 50s, and, like you're slowing down a little bit, and you're not loving estimating all the jobs or whatever role you're playing, assuming that you're off the tools, or even if you're not off the tools, but you've got a great operation, you've got a handful of crews out there, it's they, what Jay is saying is 100% correct. And I know, because I put together a deal to buy the business I was running.
Mhm.
And here's a fun little fact that I don't think I've ever shared publicly. Like, so the bank was willing to give me like 3.5 or $4 million, right, to buy this business. um, but they weren't willing to give the owner another like $200,000 on his line of credit.
Yep.
Like, think about that for a second. And the reason was, and I'm not sitting, trying to shit on the owner. I mean, the reason why is that, like, because I had built systems, right? And like all, had all of these like mechanisms that, made a lot of what we did day to day lather, rinse, repeat. And frankly, the bank knew that, he didn't, right? And so, it's a very real thing. And, the thing that I think, I mean, any business owner, but certainly, I mean, we're talking to contractors, like, it's like the outcome or the objective should be ultimately to get a price and sell.
Mhm. You should
Um,
always, if you want to do it properly, even if you haven't started your business yet, you should be looking at the end in mind and working back
right.
from there, right? What is the
Yeah.
outcome that you're looking like? Think about your exit first. And now we're getting way off topic, but like,
Yeah.
you know,
We're in the deep waters.
yeah,
But I mean, we probably should, in all seriousness, like, we probably should do like one of these where we talk about this, because
yeah,
again, like, I can think of one guy that I know, here in Western PA, the two that, like, where they're their business has like value beyond the equipment, right?
Mhm.
Because what most guys are unfortunately forced to do is whatever their trucks, lifts, real estate, whatever that's worth, that's
Mhm.
what their business is worth. And the shares of the business itself doesn't have any value, right? Because there's, there might be a customer list, or there might be, but it's not worth anything, right?
Right.
So it's like whatever the hard assets are worth, which is basically, and I mean, this is going to sound harsh, but it's basically like a dressed up bankruptcy, right?
Yep.
Where just your assets, like if you have a physical asset, it's worth something, just like it would be in bankruptcy. You just don't have all the pressure that you would have in a bankruptcy. But
Yep.
your business itself, the thing that you worked all these years to build,
It's
actually
worth
is worth
nothing.
zero, right?
Right.
And then people don't believe me, but I'm telling you, like, I saw that again. The business I came into, when I came into it, it had what you call zero enterprise value,
Yep.
nothing. The stock was worth nothing, right? In fact, it was negative equity. It wasn't, I mean, you know what
Yeah.
I
No
mean?
one's
Like the
touching
stock
it.
was, yeah, nobody was buying it. And and it's not just contractors. I'm not, it's every, I mean, it's a lot of small businesses, but, you know, we, like, and I think one of the reasons why I was successful at that, and certainly why you're successful with Jay Carter Roofing, is that we think of, and again, this is another conversation, but like, I'm just going to throw it out there. Maybe we can come back to another one of these live streams, but we think of our businesses, not as like, not as a cash register. We just go in and get money when we need it, right? But we think of them as like an asset, like a
That's
stock,
right.
or like an investment,
It's like
so
it's in every shape and form. Okay. It is like buying a piece of real estate and building a
yeah,
house.
right,
Okay. Now you could build a shack, all right,
right,
and it's going to be worth the land value. Okay. And it'll have to be torn down. So you'll probably get negative equity. So like just like
right,
your vehicles, and like guys get hung up on that. Like how many companies that had a great run and did great work and had all this
yeah,
stuff going, that literally when they shut shop, it's the owner retiring, and it's the saddest thing to see in the world, and they're selling their equipment. That's it. That's
that's
all
it.
the equity they
It's
have.
the only value,
They're
right,
selling the property that the business maybe worked in and that was paid for by it, but it's really just an exchange. Like, and again, I call it like this: like, if you have a workforce of people, all right, at your home, or on your property rather, that you've bought, and I'm going to use, because people seem to understand real estate a lot better than they understand business,
sure, yeah,
but in reality, if you built a beautiful home that fit that property and that worked you know well with the architecture of the area, that home is now worth something. Okay.
right,
And you got to think about it. Maybe it took you 10 years to build that home, right? So think about it. Like, when you're working in your business, that's just you farming your land. When you're
right,
working on your business, that's you building a house. that's
right,
that's you. And nobody lives in a home for
right,
and expects to stay there for 100 years, right? Like, we all in our own way understand investment and the principles behind it. I'm as I've matured in business, I start to see things a little bit differently, but you can build a very, very profitable asset, which
yeah,
is your business, if
right,
you understand what people would actually be buying, right? Just like you
right,
wouldn't build a monstrosity of a house that needs to be torn down. Don't do that
right,
in your business.
right,
Again, build something that has value, that fits the market, that fits what somebody in the future may want to buy. And that's, for me, again, roofing is not a very attractive business up till now. When I started doing this, there was no venture capital. No one talked about like all the big
oh
companies coming
no,
in. Yeah, like, no, it was unheard of. Guys,
no, not for
here's the
contractors, yeah,
most here's everybody's this is what everyone should know, that if they're listening to this, is that there's a reason, these big equity firms are coming in and buying up the mom and pop ones.
yeah,
And there's a very clear pattern of what they're buying. They're coming in, like, I'll give you a good example. There's a company that we worked with. It was a landscaper. Okay. He was still cutting lawns, but he had, $1 million worth of like residential contracts. Okay.
mm, okay,
And it's the craziest deal. And he had we helped him install his CRM. We helped him to systemize everything so he could get, away from it. And he had a venture capital, a large venture capital too, and I can't remember their specific name. They came in and made him an offer. My jaw dropped. He got 10x, 10x with no
Wow.
conditions. He got 10 times the value for it. And I was like,
Wow.
what is going on? And again, what were they looking for? What did they want? Well, they're buying those, that becomes an asset that they can leverage and then buy the next business. And but just like
Right.
with a house, right?
Right.
Because they're taking that reoccurring revenue and they're borrowing off of it. Right. So
Right.
they are able to offer these huge, like, huge amounts. And again, the worst thing that can happen to you, and guys, this is happening a lot. And like, I've positioned myself to do like mergers, acquisition stuff, is most of the guys that are out there, if somebody that has good investment, and understands how businesses are bought and stuff, they'll back me up on this. But like, when you evaluate a business and it doesn't have that reoccurring revenue, I'm going to strap the owner and make his buyout tied to the profit. Can you imagine? So I'm going to come in, I'm going to
Right.
reorganize your business so that it runs
Yeah.
with my systems. And
Right.
guess what? I'm only going to pay you back if the business is profitable.
Right.
Right. If it folds, it folds. That's on you. Like, if
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. So I use zero or next to zero of my own equity to buy your business and basically get you out of the bad situation you're in. And that's
Right.
happening left and right. Don't be that guy, right? Because you have no real asset to sell. Right. So
Yeah.
again,
I mean, yeah.
that's, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll probably need to do one of
for
these
sure.
on just like exits for contractors, because we both now have had a little experience in that, and have seen, I mean, again, like some rough stuff.
Hmm.
And I mean, again, I saw it because I did a valuation on the company I was running. And so, I mean, it is once you've gone through that experience, and by the way, um, and I was the buyer, like, not fun. Okay. It's not
Yeah.
fucking fun. It's
No.
it's it's crazy, crazy stressful, right?
Yep.
And it's not fun. So like, and I was in a good position, right? I mean, we were netting $1 million a year. I mean, it was like, like it was the best possible situation you could ever be in, both as a buyer and a seller. And you're wondering, like, wow, the deal didn't happen. That's another
Yeah.
conversation another
Another
day. But like,
conversation.
I mean, you know, anyway, so to like bring it back, bring it home, like this is one of those things that it's like feels like one of those little big things. So folks want to, like, if they want to have a conversation about this, at least what it would look like, DM, comment, etc. And Jay or one of our team can circle back with you on that. So thanks for being with us today. We are here every Friday at 3 o'clock, and we're in LinkedIn, right? We're on
Yep.
Facebook, and
We're on
maybe
TikTok
other.
now. We're on
We're on
Instagram.
TikTok. All
Yeah.
right,
We
with
we've
the
got
live.
we've got
We're
emails.
live on
Yeah.
this.
Oh no, we're
Okay.
not live on TikTok.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah.
But we're
Soon,
getting there.
soon. We're
We're
getting
getting
there.
there.
We're gonna be there soon.
And yeah, so we do this every Friday, and our mission is to bring value to contractors, to share the things that Jay's been doing for 25 years, the things that I did in turning around a contracting business, and and to bring value to this community, and help contractors level up their businesses. Jay does training every Thursday at 3 o'clock. And so again, if you're interested, send a DM. We'll get you into that. And then I go live every Monday at noon, and again, share just my playbook of how I turned around a business that was essentially insolvent when I came in and took it over. I mean, it was on paper, it was insolvent. And there were, had a lot of experiences. I'm sure a lot of you already had, or are having, maybe, who knows. So thanks for being with us. We'll be back here next Friday, 3 o'clock, and we'll see you then.
Bye.